On this week's show, we're going to be talking to Finn Russell all the way from Paris, France. We're going to have a little word from Hannah Tyrrell on Pieta House's Sunrise Appeal, and it will be also dissecting Ulster versus Leinster in the 2013 Pro 12 final, plus an addition rambling about Interstellar and Jack Johnson's In-Between Dreams.
Joe presents Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby, together with Guinness.
Hello and you're very welcome to Baz and Andrew's House of Rugby here on Joe together with Guinness. We're almost 2 months into lockdown, Trimby, and the sun is, well, it's not quite a lawn spare. It's not up in the sky, but it is looking like an unbelievable day. I went for a walk this morning. It is literally the bluest sky I've ever seen out there today. So, and the weekend was spectacular. A bit of a break in the day yesterday, but generally we are getting some hand dealt here, because if it was lashing and there was nothing to do and we were stuck inside. But look, I was like Spain here this morning on Saturday. I was oiling myself out the back, playing with making Jay-Z chains, just having the crack. Are you the same?
Something similar, yeah. I think the weather's going to turn though. The weather and the atmosphere and the buzz and everything's going to change.
Why is that?
Because, as you say, we're completely reliant on the weather. Like, if you've got yourself a wee bit of space, if you can work from home, if you can kind of manage some sort of level of normality, but then get all the good bits about just being isolated, no FOMO, no one calling at the door, not having to be anywhere, life is great. But as soon as the weather turns, then you're cooped up inside and the kids are fed up watching Dave Grohl on YouTube Kids.
I saw that this morning.
I can't believe it. I was like, that is brilliant. What a great addition. Dave Grohl brought his daughter on, Sophie, her name is. She came on and they did a wee, he's playing the drums and all on Ryan's Toys. Yeah,
that's unreal.
Yeah, and Ryan, so Jack loves Ryan's Toys. And he at the start he was like, I don't know how long this kid's been. You probably if you've been to Smith's at all, there's like Ryan's Eggs and like all these branded Ryan's toys. And this kid's been around for, I assume he's been around like maybe 10 years or something. But you can tell what stage of his life and his career he's at by the house and the furniture. Because as they've got more and more successful, all of a sudden Ryan is hosting this it's like a studio produced with a crowd and all. Dave Grohl's there. You're like, yeah. And then Ryan's introducing it and saying, thanks very much, Dave, great to have you. That's all for Ryan's Toys. Like, this kid in 10 years he's developed now. He thinks he's like, I don't know, he's a talk show host or something. He's just
his couch is just growing around and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, like it's taking up the whole sitting room.
Which makes it difficult to track how old he is because he looks the same age. Because as he grows, the couch grows.
It's like Justin Bieber when you see original videos of him, and he was like probably living in a one-bed apartment with his mother, and a dirty little couch, and you could see as he was getting better and better and bigger, he was exploding. But these YouTubers blow my mind, man. They're like making 20-25 million a year.
I know this guy's minted. The mum and dad are minted. Did you see? Speaking about like singers with like kind of their background. Did you see Dermot Kennedy put up that video of him busking in Boston?
Yeah. Yes, so
very
cool,
isn't it? Yeah,
very good. Big grainy footage. It was like something from the 80s.
We went busking one time. Whenever I was 15, this mates of mine. They all kind of like I played the drums, so like we had no like I was just sitting there.
Hitting one of those box things.
No, not even. Like I had nothing. I just sat there. I was just there for the crack. Technically, I probably should have been security, and this is why, because we got robbed by spies. These fellas came over. They were like, "Yeah, well, what's going on there?" Making some quick small talk, and then they just snatched a load of coins from the guitar case and legged it.
You were too crusty to chase them.
I was too. I wasn't streetwise enough. I did not see it coming. I was like, these guys look like pretty trustworthy.
They're going to give us a few quid. They're not. They're taking all our money.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I've never busked. That's one thing I've never done.
Really, Barry.
I always had the dream to do what Dermot Kennedy did. It was
Mm.
always like the dream to like start from there. And
Yeah, you're a silver spoon musician, aren't you?
go. Yeah. I'm going the opposite way. I started quite high, and I'll probably end up there.
Yeah, like you eventually
Remember me?
you
Remember
put on
me?
an Instagram of you at like the O2 or something. Like, this is how it started. Look where I am now. Yeah. Hard work and dedication will get you here, folks.
Yeah.
Busking on the street.
Come here. How's the cat? Any cat updates for me?
The cat.
I saw your Twitter, and it suggests something happened.
Oh yes, something. Sorry, yes, you're right. Yeah. The cat's been getting a lot of traction. Actually, there's been a lot of interest in the cat. The cat, like, it's just some cat. Ginger, her name is.
Ginger,
or his name.
sorry.
We don't know.
Yeah.
But I looked out the window the other day, and last week I updated you that we'd seen a slightly different side to Ginger, a slightly more impatient side, just grabbing Molly. We saw another side altogether. We saw a really sinister side to you'll probably be fine with it. I remember you at the start when you were selling cats to me. You're like, cats are way better. If you die, a cat, like a cat will eat its owner, and a dog will not eat its owner. And that's not a massive selling point for.
It's
for
just because that's always the argument people use, that the cat will eat you, and I'm like, yeah, I'll eat you because it's smart.
Yeah, smart.
But I love dogs as well, so I'm not anti-dog. I'm just trying to give a good perspective on how cats are kind of, they're good animals, man.
Yeah,
they're
if you're happy with if you're happy
very
with
interesting,
cat,
very interesting.
if you're happy with cats eating owners, then you'll have no problem with this story.
Okay.
So I looked out the window, and the cat was kind of rummaging around the garden, like frantically, and then stopping, then frantically running again. I said, "What's going on there?" So I went out for a closer look, and he or she, Ginger, was just playing with this mouse. The mouse was fine. Like, I assume, whenever I've heard stories about cats like just playing with their food, basically, I assumed that it was half dead, and this mouse was like doing like a commando crawl. This mouse was fully fine, and the mouse looked calm, sitting beside the cat. And then just took off. He thought, I'll try and catch the cat, like the busker robber, like same sort of thing. Just took off, and then the cat is all like nonchalant, and then just it's so quick you can just catch him really quickly. But then I went outside, so obviously I'm assuming that the cat just plays with the mouse for a while and then eventually just kills him.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
So that's what I was expecting.
They definitely play with their food, like they definitely. Yeah, that's the thing they do, and they bring them as gifts and stuff like that, right?
That's right. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, so that's what I was expecting, but Ginger took her eye off the ball for a second, right? And the mouse made a run for it into the bushes, and Ginger didn't get her in time. And she didn't know that I had seen this. So then I went away. I was like, I didn't want Ginger to be embarrassed. But then 10 minutes later, I went out to cut the grass, and as I was cutting the grass, this sounds so far-fetched. The mouse like ran in front of the lawnmower, and I didn't kill the mouse. Like, the mouse ran in front of the lawnmower and then looked around, and I swear it was like Tom and Jerry. He looked and saw Ginger, and Ginger was like still panicking, looking around everywhere. And then the bush was like just over to the side, and I was like, Ginger. And the mouse just scampered into the bush. And Ginger, like, that was it, and it was over. But I'm
imagining Anna running out. Do you remember in Tom and Jerry where the housekeeper would always run out with the rolling pins? Thomas, that motherfucking cat! You're not doing your motherfucking job. Get that mouse. That didn't happen. Or is that you?
With a rolling pin, did you say?
With the rolling pin, yeah.
So
that's brilliant. That's so exciting, man.
It was brilliant, especially in lockdown. That's exciting at the best of times.
Thomas and what was the cat? What was the mouse name? Tom and Jerry.
Thomas and Jerry.
Thomas and Jared.
Gerald.
Thomas looks happy enough. It's like Roadrunner and Coyote. Like, where would they be without each other? So, like, this could be a thing now. I think the mouse could become a huge part of your lives.
Maybe, hopefully.
I was in the field last night and walking along, right? Walking kind of about 20 meters away from the bush. And it was kind of about 9:30, 20 to 10, so it was still a bit bright out. So I could see quite a lot. And I was thinking to myself that there's no, like, we're lucky enough in Ireland that we can go for walks and there's no fucking mountain lions or cats or anything that will come out and have a go off you or attack you or anything dangerous. Next thing, within 20 seconds of me saying this,
mountain
fox. A mountain lion that's eating my face. A fox jumps out of the bush, and have you ever heard a fox barking?
No, stop.
Shouted. It shouts. It doesn't bark, right? Some fox.
Barry! Barry!
It was kind of like that. It was like, bah, bah. It was like it was a sheep bang, but like a sheep with rabies or something, just like bah, bah. Oh. And I was like, had about a few seconds where I was like, Jesus, but then my instincts were like, I started flinching at it, kind of like, come on, to kind of try. Oh,
geez, fight or flight! You were fighting,
told straight away, and then he just stood there and just bah, and it was like. It was weird. So and then he just turned around and he ran straight back into the bushes. So I kept walking. I was like, well, that was insane. Do you know, you just keep walking like, yep, that was normal. And then I got on a little bit and I was like, that was the most mental thing that's ever happened. And then it came back out like and just started shouting at me again. And it literally was like it was shouting at me. And then but it was kind of getting a bit hard now. It was like, yeah, no. Well, you know who's boss.
Oh, he'd built up some courage.
Because he saw me walking away, and then he started wandering around the field. But then, like, I started thinking about it, and like, you know, we're reviewing Interstellar on this show later on, and we'll get into it later on. But one of the main things in it is that, like, they're trying to decipher who the ghost is that's trying to send the messages throughout their Murph's life and throughout Matthew McConaughey, Coop's life, and. Annabelle has been making this noise for the weekend where she's like, bah, bah, bah. So I was like, is someone trying to tell me something?
Annabelle solved the equation and now she's in a fox.
Yeah. I got up to the fox. Annabelle. Me, Dad. Fox is anyway.
Great stuff.
I've heard of fox having sex before, which out like in a field behind my house, which sounds like a crying baby, and I thought there was a crying baby out the back of my gaff, and it was like there's a fucking baby outside, and I was living on my own at the time, and I was looking out the window and like went downstairs, and it literally sounds like a screaming baby, but it's a fox having sex.
So the fox is having sex with another fox, I assume.
And just while we're on that, because I was going to talk about this later on, but like this is a little teaser. One of my favorite parts of Interstellar is when he calls his daughter Murph, because my name is Murph, obviously, and a lot of my schoolmates especially would call me Murph. They don't call me Baz. And so I like, what a great name for a kid, Murph. And I love at the end when he's shouting through the library, Murph, Murph. And it's just a powerful part, but it reminded me when I was watching it yesterday that a few years ago, me and Orla were in bed and I woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I could hear someone calling my name. And they were like, Murph, Murph. And I went, hello? And Orla went, who are you talking to? And I was there, to someone calling my name. And they went, Murph. And I went, yeah. And she went, that's the dog next door barking. It's like, ruff, ruff, ruff. But it sounded exactly like someone saying Murph.
Did you think you were having a bad dream?
No, I was just curious, but I love the way I was quietly saying, yeah? Yes. Like as if the person was in my room and it was totally okay that they were there. I was like, sounds like a friendly person. No one's going to break into my house and going to go, Murph, I'm breaking into your house.
You don't mind if I just take a couple of things from downstairs, do you?
It'd be a good idea if you were a crook thinking outside the box. Just learn their second name. Just Trimby. just going to take a couple of the kids. Is that okay? Yeah, Grant.
And I was like, no, that's a dog. Trimby. Jack got up one night there. Speaking of weird dreams, Jack got up one morning. He made it all the way through, and then he said, I had a scary dream last night. And he says, there was a man, and he was on a wall, and he fell off and broke himself, and all the king's horses and the king's men couldn't put him back together again.
Wow.
It's like, Jack, that's Humpty Dumpty.
Oh, plagiarism, Jack.
Yeah.
Jesus. But the weird part of that is that Humpty Dumpty is giving him bad dreams.
Yeah.
Toughen up, Jack. Come on. Molly's not going to be having dreams about it or nightmares about Humpty Dumpty, is he?
No, Jack gets scared really easily. Even before, like in a movie or like a cartoon. So Toy Story was a tricky one. It goes to your man Sid, the next door neighbor. But like even the tone or if the music changes at all, or if it goes dark at all, then he just curls up in a ball and looks at the sofa. He can't handle it at all.
Ah, that's nice. I like that. I was a bit soft as a child, to be fair. Okay, just a couple of things before we move on. What did I talk about? Oh yeah, I did that rugby run at the weekend. A big shout out to everyone that did that. It was brilliant. Although I tore my calf after 4 kilometers.
You torn it in the training though as well, hadn't you?
A tour is a stretch. I strained it.
Listen, we're in showbiz. We have to dramatize things, okay?
My calf fell off, right? And after 4K, and I had to stop and I walked a bit, but then I kind of limped home. But I was happy enough, man. I got like 30 minutes and something seconds, which isn't bad. Fla, who pulled his hamstring and genuinely ran it in 26 minutes with a fucking torn hamstring. He's a freak of nature, I swear.
At what stage did he tear his hamstring?
After 4 kilometers as well.
Oh.
Yeah. Carl Sheridan ran a good 28. Myself, Mossy Lawler and Ron O'Mahony were in around the 32. Marcus Horn pulls it out of the bag, ran 29 minutes flat, I think. He was their surprise weapon. Mike Sherry forgot to press start on his watch. So he was null and void. There's always one. But yeah, very good. Enjoyable day. We had a beer afterwards, and I don't know if you saw Ron O'Mahony delivered another can of Guinness via drone into my back garden.
Yes. Yeah, brilliant.
He's getting very good at that. This time he manufactured it off a string, so the delivery. He's improved his delivery, because last time was just sellotaped on and it was a bit awkward, whereas now I just had to snip it off with a string.
Very good. When you snip it off, then does the thing fly
it did.
off with the balance? Yeah.
It took off, and I was like, "Oh, go fare thee well, goodbye." It was a thing of beauty. He gave me a few cigarettes as well, which I don't smoke, but it was very considerate of him.
Still nice, yeah. That's a nice way to celebrate with a helicopter.
Orla used to smoke years ago, so she had one during our we hosted our first table quiz that night, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And she had one during that. It was very enjoyable. I liked being in that kind of that seat, the hot seat, asking questions.
Yeah. I did a quiz there last week, and I got the movie round was my worst round of all. I thought it was going to be strong. It was movie quotes. Very, very difficult. I can't remember any of them. I'll have a look at a few of them. I'll test you next week on a few of the movie quotes. Very, very difficult.
I got criticized. Some of my questions were too hard. I like this one.
I have an issue with quizmasters who their whole objective is to show off a little bit. And in effect, I'm kind of accusing you.
I agree. I agree. I'm not on that level. I liked to just. You got to put at least. I was making it like quite balanced, giving a few general ones that people would get, and then I was giving a few tricky ones, and then I'd give 1 or 2 hard ones per round, and people were getting them. Like 1 or 2 of them would get them each round. So, and then the other people were learning something that they wouldn't get. There you go. O'Connell was loving it. That's a great question. He loves
I
the challenge.
I don't know the answer, but that's a great question.
Yeah. Well, I did a Disney round, and I asked him. One of the questions was, "Who is the sea witch in The Little Mermaid?" And
I was just about to bring her up. She's the one that scared Jack. Can't remember.
That's mad. O'Connell, this stretch of his Michael Jordan-esque competitiveness, I could just see him leaving the couch from his sitting room, and he went upstairs and woke his 6-year-old daughter. This is 11 o'clock at night. And to forget, Lola, wake up! What's the sea witch's name in there? Ursula. What's the sea witch's name in Little Mermaid? Can you remember the big scary one with the tentacles? Imagine her apparently she got pure rat. He would have been telling to.
She's like Ursula. He's like, go back to bed.
I had a friend who an acquaintance I played soccer with back in the day, and his mother was very like Ursula the sea witch. She kind of had the same haircut, and she was pure like sassy, sexy, big one, and big boobs, and she was. So, well, Barry, love, I was smoking fags, and immediately I was about 12. I was like, she's like Ursula. I think her name might have been Ursula. Her car, she used to give me lifts home from soccer. Her car used to smell like a hooker's handbag. I don't know what that smells like, but that kind of,
you can imagine,
bit musty, and everything was furry dice, and yeah. One question from the quiz that I was wondering you might know. What year did Ireland play their first away match in New Zealand?
86.
76. Good answer, though. A lot of people would have thought it was years ago, but it wasn't. Wasn't years ago. It was years ago, but
10 years
but it wasn't.
earlier.
It wasn't 100 years ago. But my dad was on the flight over. He went on the second flight. It was like an inaugural flight from Ireland to get to New Zealand, essentially, not direct. But he went on a touring party with UL Bohemians, who were Bohemians at the time, and we had started chatting about. I know what we were talking about the other day on the phone, and he brought this up, and I was like, "Go on." And they were on the first flight, and he said it was carnage. It was like a nightclub going over across the Atlantic Ocean, like everyone just smoking and drinking and wandering around the plane and chatting up girls and all that crack. And it sounded like amazing crack. I'd imagine that's what it would be like for us going to South Africa next year. That's what I had in my head.
Yeah, I'll see you then.
Or we could get the boat. Even more crack. Okay, do I do quick do's and don'ts?
Yes. Yes, please.
I'm just going to keep it to 2 this week, and I want you to chirp in for my do, because I know you're up to your neck in it as well. My don't is don't get sucked into conspiracy theories, because I really upset myself this week. I went too far. By
5G?
Wednesday evening I was 5G, tinfoil hat. Alien interdimensional beings. I tried to buy Mein Kampf off Amazon the other night, because I was gone down a rabbit hole that Hitler was being influenced by interdimensional beings like Matthew McConaughey and I just wanted to see if there's any evidence. It's not like I was interested about Mein Kampf. I just wanted to, but Amazon won't sell it anymore. But that was a breaking point. And then Charlie Manson was just on my mind all the time. So when Charlie Manson and Hitler are on your mind, it's like, abort.
So when you say breaking point, because Amazon don't sell it, does that make you think there's something in this?
Me trying to buy Mein Kampf off Amazon, and Amazon just like, no. Stop. God knows what they make of me now. Apple or whoever is watching this. They're like, Jesus, this guy's a weirdo. So just don't get, in this day and age, don't get too bogged down in it, man. It's a bit mental. Give yourself a break anyway. But then do get into it a little bit, because it's interesting. But my do, which was my saving grace, because this brought me out of the mentalness, and it was like, give me something digestible, was Normal People, the TV show on RT and BBC. And I know you've been up to your neck in it. So what's your thoughts? You love
I'm
it?
a couple of episodes into it, so I'm a little bit behind, but
me too. Just in case you're worried, I've decided to space this one out and leave it run, because I want them in I want them in my life because I love these characters so much that, like, when we watch Unorthodox, I watched it in one day and I was like, I missed year one so much that I wanted her to be in my life more. So I want these characters to be in my life for the next few weeks.
Yes,
Anyway,
but they're in your life for longer, but you're nowhere near as close, or you haven't got that intensity or that kind of, it's not as memorable. I don't think. I'm not saying one's necessarily better than the other, but you're going old school. You're going like the way it used to be. You have to sit down to watch The Sopranos on a Tuesday night on Channel 4, whatever it was.
But then that's why The Sopranos maybe is so etched into people's memory as one of the best of all time, and then Game of Thrones for the same reason.
Sopranos was a bad example for me to my case. But I like the idea. I think we all miss that. We miss that kind of routine of what else? There's something else. Sure, the Michael Jordan documentary is coming out every week as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we'll save that for Finn Russell. I think I want to see if he's been watching that. Yeah, so we have Finn Russell coming on, sorry, in a couple of minutes.
Enough about Ginger and Michelle Obama. We've got Finn Russell coming on.
Normal people, everyone should watch it though, right?
It's brilliant. It's really intense. It's brilliantly done. It's really kind of awkward and like those kind of relationships and how kind of clumsy they are, and like all the tension in school relationships. I went to an all boys school, to be fair, so I didn't really have that.
Me too. So this is eye opening for me. I've no example of that in my life.
The only issue I would have with it, I suppose, is it's unrealistically a little bit too intense. It's a little bit like Dawson's Creek or something. Everybody's kind of really articulate and really kind of really well read, and they're like 16 or something. So
well, the two of them they're exceptional. That's why they're such good characters.
Yeah.
And I looked them up. Like I just assumed he's such a good actor. I assumed that
they're both class.
Yeah, they're both class. Like, she's English. First of all, her Irish accent is phenomenal. She's from London. She, like, we were talking about this a few weeks ago with, or on Instagram, actually, we were talking about it, where, you had those Freddie Prinze Jr. movies where they would make the girl kind of a nerd and then they'd let her hair down and she'd be unreal. Yeah. Whereas this, like, girl, Marianne, in this TV show, she does play the kind of weird kind of dork really well, but then he calls up at her house and she's got the hair down, she's got it done up, and she looks unbelievable.
Yeah. She looks like the Jew in Jojo Rabbit. Actually, I was telling you, I was watching that last week.
Oh yeah, what a film, by the way. Jesus, that's one of my favorites. But your man Conan, whatever, Paul Mescal is his name, from Kildare, he's you just kind of assume he's a GA player from Sligo who's kind of talks like that, but he's a well-trained theatre actor. So I think he was a GA player as well, but he's very impressive.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It is brilliant. It's gripping. It's class.
And it's sexy, pure sexy as well. Alrighty. Well, we've got a little bit of rugby to get to, I suppose. We'll get Finn Russell on the phone, which can't wait to chat to him. We've also got our film to review, which is Interstellar. We've gone with Jack Johnson's In Between Dreams as our album to review. I'll get to a reason for that in a while. And we're also going to talk about Ulster versus Leinster in the RDS in 2013, the Pro 12 final, which is our game of the week. And I know that's going to be smarting with you. There is some rugby on the which is going to be starting up soon enough. Some real rugby. The New Zealand Interprovincial Championship is going to start on June 10th, I believe. So it's kind of in line with Super 14 rugby or Super Rugby. They're going to play each other twice over the home and away over the course of the couple of months behind closed doors, I assume, which is great. And I also got an update from a friend of mine from Limerick, who is and a new friend of yours, the Thing on the Wing, aka Maurice Hartree, who's Northampton's manager. He said that they're back training in the next week or so and hoping to do something similar in English rugby in the next few weeks, get started in June. That's great.
Oh, it's brilliant. It'd be nice to get some sort of normality. So there was obviously the Irish announcement last week before, and Boris Johnson made an announcement last week. It was vague enough. There was there were no dates really, and then Northern Ireland then will follow suit, something probably somewhere in between the two. But there's still no. It'd be nice to get dates. We're definitely gonna see rugby here. I know there's chat about Pro 14 in September as well. But something has to give. European rugby, and then catching up in Six Nations, and then running into November. Something has to give. But it'd be nice to have some sort of, here's our return to getting back, watching some rugby and having something to talk about. Although I'll miss the movie reviews and album reviews, to be honest.
Oh, we're keeping them in, man. We're keeping them in, because I'm watching these films and listening to these albums with a completely different perspective now, that I have to actually give a proper formed opinion on them, not just go class. Yeah. And you know what? I've been purposely not looking up. I did for the first week or two. I was looking up other reviews of it and doing a bit of homework. And I've decided for the last few weeks that I'm not going to look up anyone else. Don't want anyone else's perspective on this. This is my perspective from watching it and taking it in and just saying what I think of the film. I'd say you'd be the same, yeah?
Yeah, I haven't. I know, because one or two movies we've looked at that have been reviewed in rewatchables, and I was tempted a couple of times to have a look, but not necessarily to find out whether it got critical acclaim or if it was, liked by people who know better than us. But just to find out, what the actors were doing at the time, what the director was doing at the time, what the atmosphere, or not the atmosphere, what was popular at the time, and kind of get an understanding of watching it back in the day. Speaking of us not being experts but pretending like we are, when we had Sam Brown, one of our favorite Penguins, on, we were chatting away. What movie was it we were reviewing? Leon. And we were chatting away like we were movie experts, movie critics, and then at the end he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm a documentary filmmaker." We're like,
yeah,
oh,
off air when we had finished recording and we were chatting to him. He's made some class documentaries and obviously a hell of a lot more experience. He was on to me this morning actually about watching Friday Night Lights, which is a very obvious TV show, but a very good one as well. So, all right. Anyway, will we wrap up and get Finn Russell on the phone all the way from Paris and see how he was getting on? But before that, here's Hannah Tyrrell on Pieta House's Sunrise Appeal and the importance of mental health services in the crisis.
Hi, my name's Hannah Tyrrell. I play for the Irish women's rugby team and I'm a Pieta House ambassador. Pieta House have reported that they have had a 50% increase in calls from people during this period. I suppose it's a very stressful time for everybody. People are losing their jobs and they maybe don't have as much income. When you're being stuck inside in a lockdown like this, have a big impact on your mental health, not being able to get outside and get some fresh air and stick to a normal routine. So I think Pieta House's services are required, more now than ever, and unfortunately they're being affected as well, so anything we can do at the minute to help them would be fantastic. So Pieta House run Darkness into Light annually, and they have for the last I think 12 or 13 years, but unfortunately due to COVID-19 they're unable to have the walk this year, so it's a really big deal for them because about 80% of their annual funds come from this event, and by not having the event or postponing the event, that's really going to affect them. And it's they provide a free service for people, and if they're not able to provide that, it's going to have a big impact on them. Well, the whole idea behind the Darkness into Light event is a symbol of hope, and there's that saying of like that there's light at the end of the tunnel for people, and it's very cliche, but like with Darkness into Light, you start walking or running in pitch black with thousands of people around you that you have no idea what their life is like, and you all take this journey together, and by the end of the 5k walk or run, sunrise is happening, and it's just a beautiful way of showing that you may start your mental health journey in the dark, but when you finish there is that light, and it's just a symbol of the journey that you may take with your own mental health and how things can get better. For me this year, I've been playing a lot of rugby sevens, and all our upcoming tournaments had been cancelled or postponed, and same with the Six Nations, and our summer tours have all been cancelled. However, we're still training as normal, just at home on our own. So basically All our training has been cancelled, but we've been given gym schedules and running schedules, and we all follow that ourselves every day. And then we report back via a GPS and a WhatsApp that we have completed it. And once a week, the team gets together and we do a little Zoom cardio session, kind of just to keep in touch with everybody and see people's faces, because we weren't made to be individual athletes, so it can be tough during these times. Look, I'd hope to be back as soon as possible. Unfortunately, we've never been through a pandemic like this before, so we don't really know what to expect. You'd be hopeful that at some point during the summer we can start at least training in small groups again. Unfortunately, rugby being a contact sport, it's going to be one of the last sports that's allowed to go ahead. But look, even if we got back training during the summer, it'd be great to see people get back with the team, and hopefully we're playing rugby sooner rather than later, because I miss it.
Welcome to the show, Finn Russell. How we doing, man?
I'm good, thanks. You all good over here in Paris?
Yeah, tell us about lockdown in Paris. Are you on your own? Who are you with? What are you up to? Is it going all right?
Yeah, it's fine. I suppose it's much the same everywhere else, isn't it? So, no, the weather here is not too good just now, but it has been really nice. So it's been fine out in the back garden, doing a little bit of training. I'm trying to keep going, stay motivated, which hasn't been the easiest. But no, it's been fine. I suppose because everyone's in the same situation, there's nothing you're missing out on, really. So it's fine.
With regards social distancing, socialising, I know Zeebs lives down the road from you. He told us when he was on a few weeks ago. Can you go down and stick your head over the fence and have a chat, or are you sitting in the park and meeting up or anything like that?
I've not seen him since we've been in lockdown. We're talking about maybe, not catching up, but maybe sort of, trying to link up in the next few weeks, maybe when it starts getting a bit more relaxed over here and it starts getting back to normal. But we'll have to wait and see and just kind of follow the guidelines. So no, I've not seen him since quarantine. I've
so you've been
one of the boys in the supermarket, but that's about it.
That's about it. You've been on your own since mid-March. Jesus.
Yeah. So a while now, but I'm getting plenty of PlayStation played, so I'm chatting to the boys on there, so it's all right.
Must be a bit mental though, man. Is it? Are you going a bit stir crazy, or are you all right?
Well, I suppose for me, I'm not finding it too bad. I live myself over here anyway. So although I'd see the boys at training a lot, and then I'd go out for dinners at night or go to cafes and things, that's the difference. But in terms of being on my own a lot, it's not too bad for me because I live here myself, so I'm semi-used to it. I think it's different for boys who might live with a partner who isn't with them just now, or things like that. But for me, it's not been too bad.
We've been poorly trying to pass the time by dissecting TV shows and films here. Have you been watching The Last Dance?
Yeah, I have been watching that. Zeeb told me to get into that, so to be honest, I didn't even know it was coming out. And then I think Zeeb's posted it on his Instagram, and I asked him what it was, and then started watching that. So I'll catch up with the next 2 episodes tonight. Should be good fun.
I'm after last week. It was like they were looking at the dream team that the US Olympic team had in, what was that, 96. I imagine Racing as kind of the dream team, essentially, that little bit of a vibe going on. Like the level of players that you have, the boasting of talent.
Just bullying some poor Croatian fella.
We had Zeebs on, and he was claiming to be Jordan? Or was he?
I would surprise you.
Yeah. What would you
I
say?
think he plays to be all the basketballers put together.
That's true.
He's a mega basketball fan.
Yeah. But come here, does that ring a bell with you? That kind of the competitive streak that you see in that Bulls team. Do you, like, when I think of your team, there's an unbelievable level of talent. But what's it like individually working with players like that? Does someone be the Michael Jordan and is a fucking tyrant around the dressing room? Is there someone driving standards, or how does that work?
I suppose it's different rugby. There's more numbers, but for me last year, it was obviously my first season. So I was trying to get used to the players, get to know them, but also with the language, it was quite hard. So there might have been players who were doing that in the change rooms, but I probably wouldn't have known that much. But this year, it's the season just that we're in. I've had more of an input into the team, and I was in the leaders group this year, so I've had I've been involved in more of the meetings. Although it's still difficult with the language, but I've kind of had a better feel for it. And I think working with the players here, it's quite fun because they're all like such good players, but they're all so different. Which is quite, I don't know, quite cool to see. Like some guys will train really hard, and some guys might not. Kind of like Zeebs. So,
he threw the same accusation to you, you know.
Yeah. So I suppose it's kind of like if you watch Last Dance, I suppose the way that they all get treated differently by the coaches, and as long as they kind of turn up and do what they need to do in training, and then on the field at the weekend they can prepare as they need to get ready, which I think's what we've got over here, which is really good. You're putting some of the best guys in the world, but everyone needs to prepare for games and training differently. And we've got a kind of a leeway, a bit of flexibility with how we train and get ready for games, which is good.
Barry mentioned the description of Michael Jordan was the tyrant in the changing room. Whenever he said that, I couldn't help thinking that's you at halftime at Twickenham. That was your Michael Jordan moment. Talk us through that.
It sounds like the film sort of sounds like Michael Jordan kind of has a go at boys and tells them you need to play better or do this and do that. I was more just, I don't know what was I saying, just we need to change the way we were playing. It wasn't like the players at all. It was that was a funny moment. That I don't know how often they've been 31 points down or then had to try and come back for it. But at half time that was, I don't know, I just felt something wasn't working in the game. It wasn't. But we had to change the game plan a little bit. Whether that was what sparked it or just us coming out after half time and literally having nothing to lose because we were 24 points down or whatever. So there's a few things there. Whether it was me saying a few things at half time or just the boys having a bit more freedom.
Is that something like that comes more naturally to you in your environment at Racing? Because obviously, like having a bit more freedom and throwing the ball about, that's when you're at your best, and that's when everybody, to be fair, the whole Racing team are at their best. Was that something that really appealed to you?
Yeah, I think I've been for a few years before, a couple of years before I came over to France. I wanted to come over just to experience it and try it out. And being here, I've loved it. I think a lot of teams now, they play in the same or similar structure with the 1-3-3-1, and I think I first started using that with Vern, and that gives you just the ability to play direct or play out the back and play wide, and under different coaches you get more freedom to do that. And here at Racing, with Mike being the coach now, it's great. I can work closer with him as we both speak English, obviously. And then it gives me more of an input into the attack, and also then I know Mike's going to let me have kind of do what I need to do on the pitch and play how I want to play. And I think that works for the whole team. I think the way the boys like to play over here and with the players we've got, it's working well for us. The quicker we can get the ball to the boys outside, sometimes like the Virame, Teddy, Juan, Zeebs, and Briefs last year. But the quicker we can get the ball to them, the better, I suppose.
Do you think when you say like the freedom and people wanting, allowing players to be themselves and express themselves, do you think that can work for every team? Like I've often heard, that's the way I think, but I've often heard like players or coaches saying like, oh, this is, we're working with the players we have, or this is the way, the ethos of a team. Like I remember watching like Wimbledon, the football team from the Premiership. It was always like they are the tough guys that can't really play football. They just kick the shit out of people. And it's like, well, hang on a second. Why can't everyone fucking play flashy footballer, or at least
That's
try
been
to.
Munster. That's been
He's
Munster
tried
for
it.
years.
We can throw it around, especially with Zeebs. But you think that it's possible to, if you put people in that headspace, that they can that any team can play the way you play.
I think any team can play like that or try and play like that. It will depend on the players, obviously, the skill sets and I suppose kind of how they see the game, how quickly they're able to react and organise and whatnot. Some will be better at it than others, but I suppose that's when you get the better teams in leagues compared to the teams which are sort of towards the bottom. But I think the way the modern games kind of go, and I think we'll see more and more of that. As more and more teams kind of playing, it's not always an expansive game, but playing an open kind of free game. I suppose it's in the Super Rugby they've done that for years now. And when I spent some time over there, that would be 7 years ago now, I think. There was props who just played like that. There was props, second rows, all the forwards and backs. Everyone was, I suppose, was able to almost adapt and know what the team was trying to achieve. So I suppose potentially the bigger rugby gets and the more people start playing it, then it'll become more and more like that kind of open free throw. And it might look like off the cuff, but a lot of it's kind of planned and it's reacting to the defence and be able to change and adapt in your structure to attack the best areas and doing that phase by phase rather than maybe having a set 4, 5, 6 phase routine that you have to go through because that's what the coach wants. And I think maybe as well if players have more of a say in how they want to play and how they think it should work will then help that as well.
So when you went down there 2013, right, to Pat, our producer, does all our homework for us, by the way. We know none of this.
Yeah, we've been
you went down there
yeah.
to Canterbury. I wasn't aware of that. So did you, was that a time in your career where you grew a lot as a player with that in mind, like learning that way to play?
Yeah, I think that was my second season. No, ended my first season at Glasgow, and I was 19, I think, 20, 20, and it was good for me. I broke I fractured my ankle at the start of that season at Glasgow, so I didn't play much rugby, and then they wanted me to go down there to get some more rugby and just to get a different experience. So I went over there with Sam, had Aldo Klein on a McPhail scholarship, so which was good for me. I worked with some good players and different coaches.
Jason Holland was coaching there, right?
Yeah, Jason Holland, yeah.
He played with us here at Ulster for years.
Yeah. I spoke with him not long ago, actually, just during the Six Nations. So he was a coach there. I think he was my mentor at the time when I was down there. So he kind of helped me out, and I got to know him pretty well when I was over there. But we were kind of like, you're aligned with the Crusaders, but you never train with them. You kind of see them train, but you don't interact with them that much. Although you can see how they go around their work and how they do, day by day and things like that. So as a young player, it was quite good to learn from them. That was probably when I first, in terms of analysis and preparing for games, that's the first time I did anything like that. As a coach at the time, he would make me during the week pretty much prepare the game plan for the team that was going to play that weekend, then present it to the team and do all that kind of stuff. So that was the first time I had to do anything like that, and for me it was pretty different, but it's quite good, I suppose, and it made me grow as a player. And I suppose just playing a different team, a different style of rugby was good for me as a young player.
Absolutely. And it must have been a good lifestyle down there as well, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, it was good fun. It was, when was it, April till, wasn't April, when did we go? Like February till April maybe? Or February till May, I can't remember. So it was nice. It was like quite cold at the start, then it got nicer towards the end, which was good fun. Nicer at the start and cold at the end, sorry. But it was good fun, and the team I played for, Lincoln Uni, it was a good laugh playing with them, a lot of good guys there. So a few boys that have gone on to play for All Blacks and whatnot, so it's just quite good fun playing with them. And I think, so Dom Bird, who's over here just now, I played with him at Lincoln, and now we're both playing at the same team at Racing, which is quite funny.
Wow, That's some journey, Jesus. And you mentioned Mike Prendergast there, another former Munster player. Obviously, you're working with him. Even when you put Mike and Jason Holland side by side, both Munster legends, and Prendy. Like if Stringer wasn't in Munster, Prendy would have played 200 times for Munster and a rake of times for Ireland. Just obsessed with the game. I'm sure you've kind of come across that. Obsessed with it, but a good lad, loves the crack. I'd imagine your style of play and your attitude and your approach to the game, as you're kind of explaining to us, that seems like it's right up Prendy's street.
Yeah, I think we get on really well off the pitch, but also like we work well on it. So he'll come over and have a quick chat for 5-10 minutes just about things that we're looking at for this weekend and what I think, what have I seen, and we kind of work really well like that together. We've spoken each week or every second week since being in lockdown, just having a chat, having a catch up, which is good. So I find him a really good guy, and he's really easy to talk to. So it's good for me that I can just go up and have a chat. I saw this, I saw that. What do you think? And he's very open-minded, which is really good. And the game plan he's got suits the way I like to play and the way the team like to play. It's good. I've really liked working with him this year. It's been good. I think he's got another few years left at the club, which is good as well. But
does he ever do it? Does he ever do any Prendyisms? Like, he's got a list as long as my arm of stupid things he's done. Like, it's phenomenal.
I don't know. I've not seen it.
He's good at disguising them. I think I told a story to you before, Trimby, where he tried to drive his car by memory because his windows were frozen over because of the frost. He was late for training, so he tried to drive. He couldn't. The windows had frozen, so he couldn't put them down, and he didn't have time to get the hot water. So he tried to drive by memory and just reverse straight into a neighbour, his car across the road. And I remember he went on the holidays to New York with his brother, and they got into the station, the train station, in the middle from JFK into the middle of New York. And like Jamaica is a suburb of Manhattan, and there's a train sign that said like train to Jamaica leaving in 20 minutes. And his brother Garrod was like, "Look, Mike, you can get a train to Jamaica from here." And he goes, "That's handy, isn't it?" Genuinely, he thought it was the Caribbean.
I'll have to get one of the beers and find a few stories about him then.
Oh, he's a genius. What about Dunners? Dunners only lives down the road from me as well, is that right?
Yeah, everyone's within kind of 10-15 minutes of each other. So we're not too far from the training ground. A few boys live in Paris, but they've got a much longer commute in the morning to get in. So I think most boys we're kind of recommended to stay quite close to the training centre. So yeah, he's not far from me. He's 10 minutes maybe. So it's good if you've got things going on at night or anything like that, you can go for coffees easy enough after training and things. So
how's he seen, Finn? How's he seen with the boys? Like, if someone had said to you what Munster player perfectly fits Paris and Racing, you'd have gone Zeebs, right? Yeah. If someone had said who is the most unusual fit for Paris and Racing, you'd have gone Skin Ryan. Like, how's he? But like, to be fair, he's had some impact. How's he seen with the boys? Do they how's his French? I heard it actually very good.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good French. But with the boys love him. He's a good laugh. I suppose he's slightly older than me. But he's on the pitch. He does everything he can to win and everything for the boys. So sometimes he gets really caught up in the game, which is fine. It happens. But I like Skinny. He's a good lad. A good guy for me to chat as well, and it's good to get to know. It's been good fun.
He's an interesting fella, right, Finn? He's into a lot of music. He's into he reads a lot. He's into weird stuff. You kind of picture him as being maybe a little bit of a simple old salad, but he's not. He's actually quite. He's a complex enough. He's a complex fella.
Yeah, no, he is. He's got a moped over here as well, so yeah, I think he's a lot, but he's always keen to learn, and he'll chat to me about how or things that I would like to have an attack and how I see the game in comparison to how he sees it. Just quite interesting to see what he thinks and how he's played for Munster and Ireland, how they work attack and defence and systems to what I've worked with at Glasgow and Scotland to Racing. But he's a good guy, old skin. I think he loves being in Paris as well. He loves going to get food and a couple of glasses of wine during the week and stuff like that in Paris. So I think he loves it over here. Like you say, he might not be the guy you'd have thought would have loved Paris, but he does.
Yeah, no, I wasn't surprised myself. How about yourself then? You loving the Parisian life? I'd imagine it's a far cry from, like, I always think Glasgow and Limerick, similar enough kind of places, and Paris is quite a stretch from the two of them.
Yeah, I'm from maybe like 45 minutes north of Glasgow, from Stirling. And when I moved from Stirling to Glasgow, it was like moving to a bigger city. There's more things to do and whatnot, so that was pretty good. And then I lived in Glasgow for 4 years, then moving from Glasgow to Paris is kind of like doing the same again. So it's I don't know. Paris is really cool, but I've only seen a tiny amount of it, as I've not been able to explore that much. I find during the week and when I'm training and playing, I don't go in that much. It's not too busy. It's just too tiring going all the time to a big city like that. But when I've got family or friends over, I'll take them in there. There's as many nice restaurants as you want. There's bars that you can go to. There's so much to do here. So there's always options if you've got a day off or a couple of days off. So it's really handy. I think as well, the more I can speak French, the more I'll just be able to chat to people and actually find out where's good to go and what's good to do. So Mike's been pretty good with that. He's recommended me in a few places where to go and what to do because he's been here longer than I have. And I can speak better French, so he's been recommending a few places. So hopefully this summer I'll get into Paris more often, as we'll have weekends off for the next while, obviously, and try and find out a few new spots.
Yeah, I know when the Munster fans ever get the draw in it early on in the season, like we're playing Racing away, it's always like a double-edged sword. Like, yes, we get to go to Paris and have the crack, and then obviously the drawback is that you've got to go to play against you guys, one of the toughest draws of the season. But the game in Thomond Park last year, the return fixture, that was an unbelievable game. One of my favourite Munster games in Thomond Park in recent history. Did they behave themselves?
Yeah, it was fine. I actually, I was going to go back that night, and Jeeves kind of twisted my arm after the game and said stay over. So,
go age. You change your flights.
Yeah, it was after the game in the change rooms. I booked flights for the next morning back. So,
Limerick pulls you in, it lures you in to crack.
Nah, Jeeves was talking it up, saying it's such a good night out. You never have a better night out than here. It's better than Paris, etc. So, I thought, okay.
Limerick is better than Paris. There, you've heard it.
So I thought I'll stay around and see what it's like. But I don't know if it'd be the same with me trying to twist Zibo's arm after the game against Glasgow or something. If that was the case, I don't know if Zibo's would be staying in Glasgow for a couple of drinks.
Yeah, I was hoping that you might have fallen in love with some young Limerick girl, and then we could potentially sign you for Munster in the next couple of years.
That didn't happen, unfortunately. But you never know. I might get them the next couple of years in Europe. Who knows?
Oh, we'd love to have you anyway. So tell me about Zeebs then. He was kind of we were giving him a few options as a kind of two sidekicks, like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting, and I think he gave you Matt Damon, didn't he, Trimby? Is that right? I
can't remember what his answer was. It wasn't convincing.
As the nerdy, less cool one of the two. So here's your chance for a rebuttal.
I don't know. He loves it though, doesn't he? It's been quite funny for him actually over the last few months, especially. he's had a good few laughs out of it all. Nah, it's a good laugh. So I got on my team so well. On the field, we kind of just have a laugh. Like I suppose you saw in the Munster game over there, we're kind of having a laugh as we're playing the game, and I suppose that's kind of what it's all about. You can enjoy yourself, but still be playing some of the top rugby, but with a smile on your face. So, it's been good fun with me and Jeeves. We clicked straight away from the start, I think. So, I think he's enjoyed it because I've given him I don't know how many walk-in tries. So he's pretty happy with that, and that's me just doing that job. So it's fine. It goes both ways.
Yeah. Oh man, I'd
I'll
love
have to
play
think of
outside.
who we can be compared to, though.
Yeah. Well, look, that kind of approach you have to the game, that like you back yourself and your confidence, to just get yourself in the field is, I think that's what makes you so enjoyable to watch. And like, I rarely tweet about things that happen on a rugby pitch or anything like that, but the pass you threw, that infamous pass against England in was that Murrayfield, the one in your 22 when you fucked it over the top, was literally the best pass I've ever seen. And the nutmeg against Munster, even though it was against Munster, was pretty outrageous. And that confidence, like, is that, that's the psychological side of the game, I suppose. Is that something that you work on hard, or is that just something that comes naturally to you?
No, it's nothing that. Yeah, I think it just comes naturally. I like to have a laugh and I joke off the pitch, but I'm not. I don't know. Like I said, I don't live myself. I don't do that much. I'm pretty chilled out. But I don't know when I get onto the pitch, whether it's in training or in a game, I almost feel more comfortable there, which is quite good. Whether it's talking in front of people or even on the pitch over here, I'll pretty much just speak French the whole time. Just I feel more confident. I don't know if it's because I know what I'm talking about or I think I do anyway. Or I'm not sure. It's almost like a comfort zone kind of thing. So I like being on the pitch. It's good fun. So and that's maybe where it's not the confidence. It's just me expressing myself and being me and having some fun out there. But I've been able to do that. I think when you're playing good rugby and you're doing good things, whether it's a pass or a kick or whatever, it's good. So I quite enjoy. I don't deliberately try to do things like that. It's just playing what's almost in front of you and what comes up, and I suppose kind of backing my skills that I'm going to be able to pull off and do whatever and execute whatever I'm trying. Occasionally it doesn't come off quite like that, but that's part of it. I suppose when I was younger, everyone would kind of say it's risky or you're a risk taker, but the longer I've played, it's just how I play. It's, I suppose, less getting looked at as like a risk because it's not really that much of a risk. I don't think it is. I don't think it's that much of a risk.
Yeah,
because I'm confident in my skills and myself to be able to do it.
Is there, like, with that in mind, is there any part of the game of rugby like that you don't like or that pisses you off? Kind of, I suppose, trying to get in the way of that.
I don't think any tens like tackling or rucking, but apart from that,
but I suppose in a broader sense, like about the game, like I suppose there's certain things about the game that's quite serious or quite controlling, and I struggled with that when I played. There was a certain way of conforming to within a team or style of play or just your general personality even.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I've kind of all just been myself. I remember when I first came to Glasgow, there's a few older players that maybe I probably didn't like the way that I went around my kind of business, the way I did stuff in the gym or on the field or things, because I was very relaxed, just having a laugh the whole time. But maybe not so much in the gym, but I'd kind of do my training, do what I needed to do out in the pitch, and in the gym I'd kind of have more of a laugh.
Would they think, Finn, that you're not taking it seriously or something?
Yeah. They'd probably think, oh, he's this guy joking around, he's not taking it seriously, he doesn't want it. Or I suppose it's just kind of again the modern players coming through and how everyone's kind of been different and doing things differently to get the best outcome for themselves and for the team. And I think that's again with the modern coaches and just the way the teams are going to be, there's going to be more and more players who are going to be like that and be able to just be themselves through the week training and then on the pitch. And I think that it could be challenging for coaches at times, because the coaches probably haven't worked with that many players who are maybe like that, and they're going to have to adapt, and the modern coaches are going to have to be different and work alongside the modern players and whatnot. So I think that's one of the things that I love at Racing, is the coaches are all very kind of understanding. You can have a laugh, have a joke with them, but then when you're there on the pitch and you switch on, you've got to be 100%. You've got to be able to have the ability to do that. I mean, even in the gym, I mean, like me and James are both kind of saying we have a laugh in the gym. We don't do as much as other players, but we can do enough to get by in there. As long as we perform at the weekend.
Exactly. It's an interesting one, because like when you take, like, let's say real old school guys in the 90s who would have maybe transitioned from amateur to professional rugby, probably wouldn't have been huge in the gym either, right? So when I first started, like 2003, 2004, you were working with guys like that who had a laugh in the gym or just got through the gym work, and it was all about the pitch. Then I think rugby definitely got gym heavy, and everyone wanted, you were being judged how big you are, how strong you are, how much weights you were lifting, and attitude in the gym, attitude at all aspects of training. And it probably got a little bit too serious, right? And now if what you're saying is that the balance is, if guys want to train like that, then that's brilliant to have those guys in your team. But it's also okay to have guys that need that outlet of the gym to be a bit of crack and then get onto the field, and that's where it counts.
Yeah, and I think, and again, it's all individual. I mean, some positions need to do the gym more than others, and again, that could then be individual. Some individuals have to do it more than others. So, one of the great things over here is the players themselves know what they need to do, and the strength and conditioning coaches are quite understanding with that, especially with it being such a long season here. They push us in the gym hard enough, but after you've played 5, 6, 7, 8 games in a bounce, they're then cautious of actually, right, well, how much do you really need just now? And they're quite good at getting the balance right of how much you need to do in the gym. And well, for me, and I find it not too bad. I don't know what other players would think, but for me, I've found it been okay. If I go in and say I'm quite tired today after a few games, just like take it easy, just get ready for the weekend. It's almost worked the other way around for me. I've actually done probably more myself in the gym rather than at Glasgow. When I was always getting told that you have to do this, have to do that. And
like, we're already talking about going to South Africa next summer for the Lions, and obviously you've been there before. You've played with the Lions, but I think this one is going to be, hopefully a big one for you. If you can, if it goes ahead, well, let's just not be presumptuous and think that, let's not speculate. Let's just presume it's going ahead. Is that something a big one for you?
Yeah, I'd love to go on a Lions tour. Like you said, I went out to the last one, but for 10 days. So that was it was an amazing experience. It was amazing to have done it. And I think, the one next summer, it's going to be the back of a lot of players' heads that it's coming up. Everyone knows it's coming up. There's going to be a lot of hype around it. So yeah, I'd love to get on the tour. It's not up to me if I go or not. Because if it was, I'd be there. But I'm just going to have to I'm going to have to keep playing the way I am, and I suppose kind of doing everything I can on the field. From there, we'll see what happens. But I suppose for me, it's just play well for Racing, do my job here, and then if that goes well, then do it with Scotland, and then hopefully, we'll see what happens after that. It's just kind of I need to play my best for this season, and not just this season, but keep it going the rest of my career. But hopefully we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a good bit of competition there, but I think what I just love the idea of there's a lot of conservative 10s there that are kind of, brilliant 10s, don't get me wrong, and the 10s that can attack as well. Be interesting to see what direction the Lions coaches will go. And I suppose even thinking back to funnily enough, Gregor Townsend in 97, was that the 97 Lions, when he was very much your style of player, very attacking minded, and that was probably the most attacking minded 10 that the Lions have had as long as I can remember, funnily enough. So I for one would love to see a Lions side with you at the helm. But look, I think that's loads, man. We've taken up enough of your morning. Great to have you on. Is there any talks of you going back training over the next couple of weeks or anything?
I think in France they're getting like a different zones, red, yellow and green. In terms of coming out of lockdown, I think Paris is still one of the red areas. There was talk a few weeks ago of starting back, start of June, middle of June. I suppose we'll have to wait and see because it can change every week. But start back in small groups, maybe 3s, 4s, depending on what the rules are. So yeah, it's still. I think they're putting a plan together, but I think it's still kind of up in the air of what's actually going to happen. Things can change every week, so we're still waiting to see what's going to be the go ahead, and well, yeah, I don't actually follow that much of it over here because it's all in French, so
right.
I just wait to see what comes on the group chat. It's just translated into English, and then hopefully I turn up on the right day.
Back to the PlayStation in the meantime.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, look, we look forward to seeing you back in the pitch, man, and give all our love to Zeebs and Dunners if you pass them in the shopping centre.
I will do.
And yeah, we'd love to have you back in Limerick as well at some point. Okay, welcome back to part 4. Over the weekend, we gave you all your classic homework to do. Each week, we'll be discussing classic movie, classic album, and a classic rugby match. And let's see what we had. We had Leinster versus Ulster in the final of the Pro 12 on the RDS in 2013. Why does Pat have in brackets here that it should have been in Ravenhill?
Because you said Leinster versus Ulster. It was Ulster versus Leinster. So we topped the league that year. And our stadium, Kingspan Stadium, was getting built or half built at the time. So we had gone through, and this was a bit of an issue actually. Boys were upset about this because I think it might have been like 10 weeks earlier or something. We were going through a bit of a rough patch. We'd been top of the league the whole season, and then we started struggling. And apparently, I don't know, this is the way it was explained to us. Apparently, the powers that be at Ulster had the decision to either say, right, we can get the stadium ready, but we have to start the process now. And if we start the process now, it'll cost whatever amount to get. It'll be like temporary structures for half of it, whatever the mechanism was going to be. And they said no, let's not get the stadium ready. Let's not potentially waste a lot of money if we weren't going to be top of the league and get the home draw for the final anyway. So yeah, so they decided to go for RDS. Now I'm sure like people would say like, why did they not go Casement Park or Windsor Park in Belfast or and like a number of other options, but they decided to go right into the Lions Den and RDS.
Yeah, whose decision was that?
Don't know. But
you're not
it's all
not
well
bitter
and good
about it, right?
It's all well and good. It's all well and good us saying that now, but to be fair, we weren't playing that well at the time, and if they had spent loads, it couldn't have worked. It mightn't have worked. It might have been the right decision at the time. It felt like in hindsight, it probably wasn't, but. We were class that season. We were really good that year, and we were hammering everyone. We were clear at the top. Actually,
was that one of your best Ulster teams you've played in? You reckon?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, definitely. Watching it,
so many internationals, and
yeah,
you were so physical, man. Big side, like.
Yeah, very physical, very good in defence. So it was the year before that we'd had that run in Europe and then got beat by Leinster in the final again. But then we got better into that season. And as you say, John Afoe was class. Johan Muller, very good. We had Nick at 8. Nick was brilliant for us. Nick
brilliant.
Yeah. Paddy and Stu, obviously you saw the impact they had as well. They're both class. Ruan doing what he does.
Jared Payne was brilliant.
Jared, yeah.
And Dan
Dan
Toohey, big shots, yeah.
Yeah, big shots. Like he was throwing his weight around, and that was obviously Hendy. I'm not sure how old Hendy was at that stage, but he was keeping Hendy off the team, which kind of showed the impact that he was having. He was bashing fellas, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was very aggressive, very, like, as you said, so many internationals, seasoned internationals in that side. Like, you had a lot of Irish players, yourself and Tommy in the wings, and Jared, and then your foreign signings were pretty class with PNR and Nick and Afoa, and but I was kind of wondering, like, are they going to run out of steam here? Are they fit enough? But you didn't run out of steam. My biggest criticism, and I think it was the sign of the times, was that you didn't go for the jugular on the few occasions that you could have. So you were so, I think, confident and reliant in PNR's boot that you kind of thought, let's just stay within striking distance. And, like, I think it was 53 minutes, he got to 12, it was 19-12 or 12-19, let's say. And they were down to 14. He had gotten whoever was Simbin back on, and he got a penalty. Robbie, yeah, that's right. He got a penalty, and he kicked at goal, and he could have gone to the corner. And there was just a couple of those occasions.
Having said that, though, maybe in around 75 minutes, we got a penalty in their half, breeze behind us, and we went into the corner. And I was watching it, like, obviously, 7 years later, thinking, wonder what would happen if we took 3 there. And then, having already nailed 6 penalties, that would have been Pienaar's 7th penalty. He never misses. If then we get the ball back, and it's a lot different if you're playing for a try, but you're playing also with the threat that a penalty can make an impact on the scoreline as well. The penalty would get us a draw, so they would have had to defend very differently. Again, massive captain hindsight 7 years later. And then the other one was like Robbie should have scored that try in the first half.
What was he doing? Geez. I was like,
that was hard to watch. I was watching that, and I was looking after the kids yesterday, and I was watching this, and I was getting not just that, but I was getting so ratty watching that game back. We always had this thing in our head when John Lacey refs us. We don't win. We can't win when Lacey's in charge, right? And that's what I've always had in my head. I remember Pienaar especially. Lacey walks into the change room, and Pienaar goes, "We can't win." Watching the game back, we were so stupid. Some stupid penalties.
Discipline was so poor. Chris Henry, who's a big fan of the show, and I know he could be listening to this now. And I'm sorry, Chris, to throw you under the bus, but your penalty on 60 minutes, it was a big moment because that was when Cian Healy got his try when they kicked to the corner. And
was it the foot? Was it the one where he kicked it at the back of the rock? He did 2 stupid ones.
It was one. I know he did. I think it was the foot one.
Yeah. Well, I remember Chris telling me at one stage he used to feel like he could trick referees by grabbing the opposition by the arm and patting the ball back with their own hand.
There's the talk of a typical number 7.
He didn't get away with that time, and there were loads of other stupid. Johan gave away stupid penalties. Robbie, Chris.
Robbie DX face when he didn't score that try, his life looked like it flashed before his eyes. Like, what have I done?
Yeah.
The other thing I enjoyed was your face when you had a free kick from a mark, I think, and you had
shouldn't have marked it.
You had to kick the touch, and your facial expression before you knew you were kicking the touch gave me zero confidence that this was going to be a good kick. And you missed touch. It was kind of like you're saying, "Oh, fuck,
no, I shouldn't have marked it. Just run and tackle." Those are your 2 things. Just run and tackle.
But you did get a very good turnover for Penno at one point, and you almost had an interception off the Dev Toner's loose enough pass.
Yes, that was it. That was my contribution. I think John Lacey gave loads of penalties for tackle or not release. And I think it must have been, again, I don't know what year that law was brought in, but it must have been close enough because we hadn't a clue. And to be fair, a couple of Leinster penalties as well. We didn't understand the rule. And then I don't know who it was on co-coms. didn't understand the rule either. Because
Reggie, I think it was Reggie Corrigan.
Was it Reggie? I don't think it
didn't.
was. I thought it was at the time, but it was the only kind of.
I think it
Anyway.
was. Yeah.
So tackle or assist, obviously, if you contribute in any way to the player being brought down, if you make any contact with them, then you're a tackle or assist, and you have to let go. So like no one understood that. No one got it.
It was even a sign of the times. He didn't even understand a high tackle, because when Nasiwa got yellow carded for pulling back Paddy by the neck, he was like, "No, I'm not defending what he did there." But then he did defend what he did. He was like, that's not a high tackle. When you're in that situation, you have to go to any stretch of the imagination to stop them. You'll do anything. So like, he didn't take his head off or anything. He just grabbed him by the collar.
Yeah, I think it was Paddy as well. Like that line break and his passing. He just whips passes out so well. Everything, like he was so important in everything we did, and he was so fit as well. Like that's in around 70 minutes, and he still is just as explosive as he was the whole game. I just to clear one thing up, we were wrong about Lacey 100% that day. When I watched it back, I was like, literally every single decision he nailed, and we were just like complaining and bitching and moaning, and we were so stupid. So just to completely vindicate Lacey, he was spot on. He was brilliant that day, to be fair.
And any Leinster fans, I suppose I did kind of watch this with a total Ulster hat on, because I knew I'd be talking to you. But I don't know. I'd say if a Leinster fan was watching that back, or even a player, I suppose it was a sign of a good team to win, despite like how well he played and how physical he were, and how much of the game. I think he controlled a lot of it. He did a lot of. Had a lot of the more positive moments, but Leinster just stuck it out and knew how to win, and obviously an exceptional team as well. They just looked a bit, I don't know, they looked a little bit more, had that killer instinct a little bit more maybe.
Well, it was summed up by the contrast when Jamie had no right to score that try, but he got a latch, he got his legs going, and he managed to get over. And then by contrast,
so Robbie tries to. I don't know what he's trying to do.
Hopefully, Robbie. I don't think he will.
Yeah. So that up there, one of the most disappointing losses you've ever had in your entire life. To make you sad, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't make me sad. It just made me ratty. I was real ratty yesterday when I was watching that. I'm taking it out on Anna. It's not your fault, Anna. It's Lacey's. It wasn't Lacey's fault either. It's our fault. Anyway, Interstellar.
2014, was it? Yeah. Directed by Christopher Nolan, written by Christopher and his brother Jonathan. Great fellas, to be fair. Get out to the fundamentals. We talked about this beforehand with Dermot, who we're not going to bring on, but he was our correspondent for Bon Iver last week. He pointed out that it was shot in IMAX or something like that. I don't know what that means, but it was shot in a very large, wide frame, which is quite unusual. But I do remember, which made it very striking, I think. But I do remember seeing it in the cinema and being and still probably the best film I've ever seen in the cinema. Just with the different visuals that were going on. You had space, you had the farm, you had the different planets, you had the spaceship, you had the other world on the other spaceship. You had just so many. It was like a visual feast for my eyes. My palate of my eyes was like,
my eyes were just like stuffed in their faces.
It's like seven course meal. Nom, nom, nom. And
popcorn, pick and mix, you name it.
Yeah. And even my ears, the music is so good in it. Quite loud at times, but I couldn't hear the audible some of the conversations, but the music is quite striking. The strings and it's quite I don't know, it builds a lot of tension.
Oh yeah, especially the bit when they get to Matt Damon's planet, and I couldn't quite remember. I confused Interstellar with a couple of movies. The Martian, especially the bits with Matt Damon, and then I also confused it with Gravity, the Clooney and Sandra Bullock movie. again, in the cinema, I remember Gravity, loving Gravity, but
never one you'd watch again. I've never felt the need to watch
I've never
Gravity
felt
again.
the need. Yeah, if you said to me, it's
I've watched Interstellar 10 times.
Really?
Yeah, no. I've watched Interstellar 10 times. Yeah, at least.
Oh, geez, I've only watched it like maybe only my third time or something. But yeah, the music whenever Matt Damon comes on, straight away you're like, this is gonna go wrong.
Yeah, well, the use of the actors in it first and foremost are incredible. Like it's Matthew McConaughey, and they just keep dropping in these actors. You got John Lithgow as his father-in-law, Michael Caine, Anne Hathaway, Wes Bentley, Timothy Chalamet, Jessica Chastain, and Casey Affleck, and then, as you said, boom, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon,
and Russell.
And you think right, you assume that it's Matt Damon. He's going to be a good guy. He's always a good guy, and then he just fecks them over. The biggest goal that has ever lived. What a goal of a human being, like ever. And that's very clever use of casting, because it takes you completely by surprise. But yeah, I thought the use of all of those actors were brilliant. Matthew McConaughey took a little bit getting used to, right? In the first 20 minutes when he's strolling around and he's...
Remind me, had he done Wolf of Wall Street and done, what do you call that series that he did? With True Detective. Yeah, had he done that? But so basically, was he?
I'd say they're a bit later. So
this might have been his turnaround then, like similar to what we were talking about before with Justin Timberlake and Channing Tatum.
He could have been, because he was always like, 10 things I hate about you, and that kind of douchey stuff. Yeah, where you'd be like, whereas in this, and he's a bit at the start, like when he's walking around NASA and they're trying to explain what they're doing, and you're like, why would they be doing this to this random lad who showed up? And he's like, yeah, okay, I suppose. And you're like, right, get me through that. But essentially, it's a space travel thing. So they get to space, and then it's all about love in the end. Like, there's a few moments in this film that, like, the emotion I went through watching it yesterday, the tears, there's a few things that happen in it that are so jarring and inconceivable for my brain to even comprehend, and they're groundbreaking for film. Just the concept of like relativity. So they will go down to this planet for a quick trip, and it'll be a few years on Earth. So how quickly they make that first decision to go down to Miller's planet to try and see if it's habitable. And they're like, he comes up with the idea, McConaughey, look, if we do it like this, where we park outside the kind of planet's gravitational pull, then we can then shuttle down on one of the buses, and we'll be back in about 20, 25 minutes. And that'll work. And then the other guy goes, Ron, the nerdy guy goes, yeah, that's fine. I'll stay here and I can do a bit of work on the black hole. And it's like, that's 2 years. He goes, that'll be 2 years on the ship. Imagine someone going to you, I'm just going down to the shop and I'll be back in 20 minutes. And you'll be like, yeah, but that's 2 years for me. What am I going to do? They'll be like, watch a few box sets.
Cover yourself in water. Get in that wee tank there. Zip yourself up.
Watch normal people down the box sets. Brilliant. Have you seen?
Spread it out as well.
You've got 2 years, man. Have you seen the Michael Jordan documentary? It's brilliant. Like, and then they go down, and your one makes a bollocks of it, Anne Hathaway, and then they come back, and it's been 23 years.
Okay, so I one interesting observation about this was when they're making this, they've gone, right, okay, we have to 23 years?
23 years.
23 years they've gone, right, okay, Murph, age her 23 years, age everyone else, and they've gone, no, Michael Caine. They've gone, oh no, he's as old as the hills. Stick him in a wheelchair.
Make him look sad. Can you get the look of that he smells of piss in some way?
Yeah.
They kind of dye his hair for the first hour when he's supposed to be younger.
Yeah,
I think, but that's hilarious.
There's all sorts of issues. Like any time travel movie is riddled with issues. Like, when did that happen for Back to the Future? Like,
Yeah.
what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
So
When they arrive back up after 23 years and Ron opens the door and Matt McConaughey's like, well, Ron, and he just walks past him and Ron's there like with a blanket. He's been there
Too
23.
that was way too casual.
But then you have to think, he's just thinking like, imagine being, this is where I'm saying it's inconceivable. Imagine realizing that your children are now in their 30s and it's like been an hour for you. And then like this is further proven at the end when himself and Murph are in the hospital together and she's in the bed and it's so emotional and you're crying and you're watching it going, oh, this is so sad, but it's so good to see them back together. And Murph must be going like, oh my God, this is unbelievable that I get to see him again. And what are the chances? And the other people in the room and the nurses are like, whoa, this is insane. But McConaughey's only been gone 2 weeks. And his daughter, not in his head, he's only been gone 2 weeks.
Yeah.
His daughter is 70 or like in her 90s. Imagine going away for 2 weeks now and coming back and he's just like,
well, did you solve the formula?
Yeah.
Fair play to you. Did you watch Normal People?
Yeah, that's really jarring, man. So while I was watching it, I had the realization that I've been thinking about this lately. Well, we're all kind of gotten a little bit nostalgic during all this time, right? So we all kind of want things maybe to be back to where they were, or else at least this will change us to make us go back to some way different that was simpler times back in when we were younger, right? And this is kind of what they're trying to do with McConaughey when they put his house up on the ship at the end, and they're like, "Look, you're in your old house; it's all grand." And he says something like, "I don't want to go back to where I was," he what does he say? Actually, I
want to see where we're going. I want to see where we're going next.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it exactly what he says. I want to see where we're going next. So it kind of just got me thinking about where, this is obviously going to change the world now, but be interesting to see what direction we go in. Will we all slow down now and become a little bit more? Do you ever think that Ireland could be more like an island, a bit more island life? Like we came too commercialized and too too corporate, and we could become a little bit more like a bit more of an island life, or where.
No, but we need cash. We need cash, though.
Yeah, we could just do surf lessons. Something like that. Go busking.
That brings us on to our album of the week. Perfectly. Lovely segue.
Yes, it does. This is why I chose this. In Between Dreams, Jack Johnson reminds me of a time when Celtic Tiger was booming and we were making loads of money and everyone wanted to be a surfer and listen to Jack Johnson, and we all bought surfboards and we all went and shopped in Tubes and all these surf shops and wore beanies and flowery shorts with flip-flops, and it was a cool thing that he did. I think that style of music, very mainstream. I'll have it. I'll take that. But he changed a lot of the vibe of the world.
Did he change it, or was it already there and he just went? Actually, he didn't do what you were talking about. Let's be more islandy and do surf lessons. He went, you know what? Here's a business opportunity. Here is a culture that is just ripe for the picking. I've got a wee guitar here. I'm just singing this wee crappy song, like same old chords you hear in every song nowadays. This is perfect for now. I'm gonna cash in on this, and then I'm gonna ride off into the sunset. Sorry to be the cynic.
No, it's an interesting take because I think that's the cynical way of looking at it, but that is what happened. So he's just living his life. He's a professional surfer. He loves playing.
The way it was described to me was he's a way better surfer than he is a singer-songwriter. Is that like...
I think he's a great guitar. I went to his gig in Cork, in the Cork, what's it called, Marquee, about 2 years ago, and it was phenomenal. Like, there's a guy who's a musician. He can play multiple instruments, really good lyricist, lovely melodies, and his show is so laid back and really well put together, and it just natural, and it just looked like you're watching someone who's really in the zone of what he's doing. So back to the point about the commercial thing and whether he took advantage. He was just living his life. He's a surfer dude, loves playing the guitar, loves that way of life, and then he's just doing his thing. But in your 20s, I think, when you're a musician and you're kind of doing that, you tend to probably, like, if history will show us that the most, like Mike, what's his name? Dave McWilliams went on about this in his podcast last week, where guys in their 20s, musicians in their 20s, tend to kind of set the trends, and we hand over the reins to them because they're probably writing music at that time of their life that's a little bit more mainstream, or whatever frame of mind you're in. As people get older, like Jack Johnson, a lot of his newer stuff for the last 20 years has been a little bit more obscure because he's getting older. He's writing about different things, so it's not as digestible for the mainstream audience. So it just was a weird thing that happened. Mumford & Sons kind of did that, right? They changed the whole thing from, like, it almost went from surfy vibe to, like, now we're all wearing tweed and we're folky. Yeah. Everyone, you know. Because, like, the Celtic Tiger came along, we were all like, no one had ever surfed or really done any of those outdoorsy laid back things in Ireland. We're all too bitter. And then we all got loads of money in the Celtic Tiger, and we were like, yeah, we have hobbies now. We surf. We do. And then Mumford & Sons came along and said, oh no, the recession. We're all poor. Let's wear tweed again and not shave.
We had a number of nights out with Ulster, and it must have been in around the time of Mumford & Sons, and there must have been maybe 4 or 5 team nights out in a row where we were like, think of a theme. We need a theme for this night out, and every single time we just ended up in tweed. We were just like Declan Fitzpatrick. It was always he was always like, what about country gents? Let's be country gents. So sure enough, anytime we got out for drinks, we were dressed in tweed, and it was because of Mumford & Sons.
There you go.
And it was board shorts before that, 10 years earlier.
Yes,
because of your man.
Those gammy flowery shorts.
Tell me,
but
this,
like that's
Ben Howard. Do you know Ben Howard?
Lovely blend of the two.
Was he something? Yeah, was he something similar?
Yeah, and his music has gone way out there over the last few years. He's brilliant, but not great to watch at a festival. It's all Electric Picnic, and it was Snoozeville, but he's very out there, and he's kind of a blend of the two, a bit folky and a bit surfery.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's what'll be next? Who knows?
just a quick one, right? So last week, we need to be careful, especially in the music one, that we don't get too philosophical and pretentious, because I got a text from someone last week, and the text goes like this: "Hey mate, so after last week's podcast, I decided to give Bon Iver a listen, and all I can say is ... pure balls." And he says, "You did a good job of feigning interest, but I know you're on the same page. Anyway, trust you're well."
Yeah. See, he just doesn't get it, man. That guy needs to. That guy or girl needs to just.
It's a boy. It's a boy.
It's a boy. Yeah. Look, it's not for everyone. I'll give that. We're not here to kind of shove stuff down your throat. We're just saying what we like, man. Ask that guy for recommendation. We'll see where his tastes lie, because it's easy to shit on something.
It'll be Oasis, Be Here Now,
which I love, but it'll be no.
You'll definitely listen.
Matchbox 20.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Yeah. Look, we'll move on to Penguins, because there's quite a lot of Penguin action this week. I was getting plenty of positive stuff. Can I start one and then I'll let you take over?
Please, yeah.
Jack Lavery got on to me. He had an accident last week where he had a seizure and fell over and dislocated his shoulder and broke his ribs and did loads of damage. He's bedridden for a while. He has a 4-year-old son and a wife who's due in 3 weeks. due a baby. She's not arriving. And he's we just want to give him a shout out. He loves the show and it's getting him through it. I'm not sure if it's getting his wife through it, but it's getting him through it anyway. So big shout out to Jack, and I hope you're well. Look after yourself.
Fair play, Jack. Good man. The Penguins have been brilliant recently. They're making their presence felt. The Facebook group's going great. Plenty of chat in there. The only one issue, our integrity needs checked in the Facebook group. Someone's flogging stuff in the Facebook group.
Wait,
someone's flogging masks in the Facebook group. And then someone else was like flogging like Lions memorabilia, like signed jerseys.
Saw that, yeah.
That's disgraceful.
We're like done deal.
Yeah. We should be getting a cut. We were happy to sign it off if we get a cut.
Yeah, if anyone wants to sell their garden furniture or anything like that, we maybe.
although I don't think it would be pretty. It'd be pretty stinking of us to capitalize on take a cut out of coronavirus masks, to be fair. So we're not gonna. That's not a business we want to get into. But just someone's getting
garden
into
furniture and memorabilia.
Fine. Yeah. Okay. Plenty of chat about Ginger. Ginger's become a bit of an iconic talking point for the Penguins. Stuart Hill loves it. Matt McKnight is on fire with the artwork. Great addition. I would like to see Matt, just to task you for next week. I'd like you to create a cartoon of Ginger and the mouse, Tom and Jerry. Listen, you're going to be more creative than we can be with that, so we'll just leave you to that.
Stick the fox in there, the shouting fox as well.
Yes, a hybrid of me and Barry's two lives at the minute. Stuart McMullen shared a great video of an Arctic bird attacking penguins and kind of showed the strength in numbers of our penguins, of our followers. So
brilliant.
Despite all that, the Penguin of the Week goes to Shane Schmack. Now, I don't know if that's I'm going to take this at face value. Let's hope this is Shane's real name. Shane Schmack. Fair play to Shane.
Great name.
Galway. Yeah, great name. Yeah. He put in a video. Schmack.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. He put in a video of Fla swinging a wild boot in a famous Connacht win over Leinster in 2003, and this was the prelude to Alexis Palason when he landed on his thigh and landed himself a hefty ban at the same time. So Penguins are in fine form. It was like a criminal case where someone would go in and plead their innocence. Like, it's so out of character for me. I would never do something. I would never kick someone like that. And then some like a movie, some genius lawyer or like their assistant would come running from the back burst through the doors with a DVD in their hand, and it would be Shane Schmack. Shane Schmack's there, and he hands him the DVD and he shows him the piece of evidence from the Connacht match back in 1980s, and Fla, like, absolutely. I don't know who he kicked. You know who he kicked? It was no, he missed it. I couldn't even work out who it was, who either of the players were. Some Connacht player makes a good.
Sorry, he missed him. He missed
him, but someone else hoofed the ball away a good bit before Fla arrived. A good bit, and he was still swinging. Yeah. So very good. Yeah.
Okay, so Shane Schmack.
Penguin of the Week, Shane. Nice one. It's better. It's way better.
Alrighty, that's been a long, lovely show. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, but the sun is still shining. The blue skies are still out, so I'm going to go and make some daisy chains. Tell Ginger and the mouse I was asking for them.
I will do. Tell the fox I said hi.
I will, of course. Thank you to everyone again, and Joe, for putting this show together, for your genius work on stringing like our ramblings and visuals together. You're incredible. And that is Pat, Paul, Diarmid and Anthony, of course.
Every week we make it as challenging as possible, as if we say, edit that, fellas, huh?
yeah. This one's been clean enough. Foxes and babies. Alrighty, this has been Baz and Andrews House of Rugby here on Joe, together with Guinness. Party on.
Party on.